Hi, thanks for joining me today. We're going to be looking at the Panoramic 9 twin door stove. Before I get into it, I'm just going to quickly close the stove off, open back up again, just to show you the controllability of the vents. As you can see now, the stove's closed right off and the flames have died down as the oxygen in the chamber decreases. I'm now just going to open it back up again and there'll be a sudden whoosh of air into the stove, as you can see just there. It's worth bearing in mind that this is the non-Defra version I have here. So there's a little stop just underneath here, which you need to remain in place if you want the stove to be Defra approved. That'll be applicable if you want to install a 5-inch liner or twin wall chimney system, or if you're in a smoke-free zone. So with the stop in place, this unit is Defra approved. In addition to that, it also meets the eco design standards, which came into play the start of January in 2022. So we're going to start from the top down and then just have a look at the whole stove. So coming down onto the stove is a 5-inch vitreous enamel flue pipe going into a 5-inch flue collar. On top of this model here, we're actually demonstrating the Panoramic cook plate. It's not actually for the Panoramic 9, which this model here is actually made for the Panoramic standard 5 kilowatt stove, but it does fit quite nicely on this one too. However, it does have the little holes here which can fix in place, but it still looks good. You can see the kettle's boiling away on top here at the moment. It's just perfect for if you want to cook on the stove, easy to clean, and also looks quite nice. You can generally cook on the stoves anyway, you don't need this. You can actually cook on any flat top stove, especially if you have the option of the rear flue box which we sell, which bolts onto the back of the stove. If you have that on the back, it leaves a nice flat top to put a nice lot of cooking stuff on. Then looking into the stove itself, so this is the Panoramic 9. It's based around the Panoramic 5, which has been sold since 2017 in one of the most popular stoves, which is the 5 kilowatt version. Pretty much a very slim, wide stove. So this unit is just over 620 millimeters wide, but it's very shallow. What that means is you can get some good, nice wide logs in place here. It's got a good, nice size firebox. So around, just going to show you roughly the size of the logs. So there's in here at the moment is 4 of these effectively, which is the standard ones you get in the crates of kiln dried wood, approximately sort of 240 millimeters long. So you're going to get around 4 of those in that stove there. Inside the chamber itself is a standard vermiculite fire bricks. So these are all removable. So if you did need to replace them, they're easy to replace and stocked by us as well. Ceramic glass front, and this unit's got the twin doors as well. We also sell the Panoramic 9 as a single door unit and also has a stand option as well. Currently, the single door version is also available in our custom burnt grey. So moving further down here, we have the wooden handles on the front, cool to touch, and they do need to be kept in that position as well. You just need to make sure you don't lift them upwards because the glass gets extremely hot and can scorch them if they're left sort of in the 12 o'clock position. Inside the fire as well, you've got the log retaining bar. That's a standard bar at the moment, but we do also offer a slightly taller bar to go underneath there, which just raises it up slightly. Some people prefer that with or without. It depends on how much of the actual glass you want to see. So currently the stove is fully open. We'll just close it off again. Use the actual poker. Very hot. I'm just going to close up and then just open up a little bit. And that's generally where you're going to be wanting to burn the stove at, really. Just get it nicely ticking over so the heat inside is being recycled. So all the air on this unit is all coming in from the back. So it comes in through the spigot through the rear, which is the direct air outlet as well. So this has the option of being fitted to a direct air feed, which is pretty much a little pipe which can go straight onto the outside, so it draws in fresh air from the outside directly into the stove, opposed to it being drawn from the room. So with this stove being over 5 kilowatt, an air brick is required. So if you didn't want an air brick in the actual room, you can vent straight from the back directly into the stove, drawing in air like that. So the air goes through a separate shell inside the chamber here, and then it's dispersed through these holes in the baffle plate and then over the top of the glass as well. So that effect there keeps sort of reburning the smoke produced and keeps rolling it back around, keeping the heat inside the chamber. A hot chamber of a stove is a key way of keeping them nice and clean burning. You can tell it's burning nice and clean because the glass is clean, the fire bricks are staying nice and clean, and that's a good way of just telling that the stove is burning nice and efficiently. So the stove itself is made from steel, fully steel construction with cast iron doors, and that'll be the same for the single door version as well. On the bottom you have the legs which are adjustable, so there's little bolts on the bottom. So if your hearth's uneven, you can just loosen up the bolts. Very easy just to adjust those too. As mentioned, the fire bricks are all sort of replaceable along with the log retainer too. Easy to sweep, just unbolt the actual baffle plate here with 10mm nuts, removing the bricks, pull the baffle plate out, and then the chimney sweep can push the brush up straight through there. Not the hardest one to sweep through as well. So this is the Panoramic 9. It actually has quite a good range though of between about 5 and 10 kilowatts, with its nominal being around about 7.4 kilowatts. Meaning it's actually quite good for a range of different spaces, from sort of a medium room to really quite a large room. I've got this stove in a room myself, which is quite a sort of a larger Grade 2 listed living room with leaks there and it's freezing cold, and it really does heat it quite nicely. Before I had the 5 kilowatt version of the stove, and there's definitely a jump in heat output from the two units, despite them actually looking quite similar. There's definitely a jump between it. And usability wise, if you want to get more logs in it, you definitely can fit a few more logs inside, just because that extra little bit of width allows you to get the logs in. Like I said, we had about 4 of the 240mm logs in there at one time. They're slowly burning down. Wood burning only unit, so it doesn't have a grate inside, just burns on the base here. My little tip is just to make sure you just leave a little bit of ash in place too. That just helps protect the base bricks, and also is good for a longer burn. So pretty much what happens is the embers kind of nestle inside the ash, which helps to sort of blanket them and protect them and just burn for longer. Whereas if you were to fully clean it out, that kind of blanket's gone, and they do burn out quicker. So it's a little good tip to sort of make sure you just don't fully clean them out, and actually leave a little bed of ash in place as well. And I think that's about it. As usual, probably missed some pieces, but the full specifications online. Just kind of want to give you an idea of what that looks like in as close to the flesh as possible. And that is about it really. Just a quick introduction to the stove, and if you do have any questions, always let us know. Thank you.